Was last year a tough year for you? Let me show you 5 easy ways to review what happened last year so you can make next year a lot better. In the first half of life, it was pretty common to get a report card every now and then to see how we were doing. Were we succeeding or failing or struggling? In the second half of life, we have to kind of create our own report card. We call this self-evaluation or self-awareness. Are you too busy to stop and review and evaluate how things are going? When you see yourself in the mirror or catch your reflection in the ground, what do you see? Do you like what you see? Are you ashamed of your past? It's good to do self-evaluation every now and then. You'll never get where you want to be until you know exactly where you are. It's really important to take undistracted time to focus on and reflect on what happened in the past year so you can learn from it. Learn from the mistakes, the ups and downs, and figure out what you want to do different for the next year. As you get older, you have to take time to do this yourself. You don't get feedback from other people that is really worth trusting. You've got to be able to be objective yourself and really see and evaluate what's going on in your life and what's working and what's not. Taking time to review and reflect and analyze how things have been going is really important. And quite frankly, if we don't do this, we kind of tend to make the same mistakes over and over again. Because the reality is we don't really learn from our mistakes. We learn when we reflect on our mistakes. So it's important to take an intentional time to look back. And 1 year is a good time frame to do that in. We kind of move through life at years at a time. And if you review the last year, you can see a lot about what went well and what didn't go well. Reviewing can be hard. That's probably the reason why a lot of people don't do it. Here's a simple strategy you can have to review. The first thing is to have an open mind, to realize that there's a lot to be learned from looking back. Not to be afraid of it, but learn from even mistakes we've made so that we can correct those and move forward. And then we need to be undistracted. We live in such a loud, noisy world. We need to be undistracted to do this exercise. So I encourage you to find a place and a time to be undistracted to do this. And then third, use a strategy or a tool to do that. I'm going to share with you 5 different ways to do this that are real practical, simple, and easy to use, that maybe you'll find one that will work well for you. To prepare for your personal annual review, there are 3 basic tools I recommend you using. The first one is your photos of the last year. These are pictures you've taken or you've collected, probably on your camera roll on your phone. Our phones make it real easy for us to kind of look through and sort photos by the date they were taken. And so you can pull up all of your photos from the last year. The next tool is your calendar for the last year. If you've been good at putting events that you've participated in on your calendar, you can review your calendar for the past year as another great tool for personal review. And the third tool is a journal or any notes that you've taken over the last year. Some of you are really good at writing and you've captured a lot of thoughts and journaled and taken notes. And if you can collect those from the past year, these are another good resource to use when reviewing and looking over the past year. The 5 methods of review I want to share with you specifically, and you may want to use one or all of these, whatever suits you. Some of you are more verbal and like to write. Some of you are more visual, and you might use the photos as a better fit for you. But whatever fits your interest, use one of these at least to review your past year. So writing prompts, I'll give you some of those in the follow-up email that you can get by clicking on the link in the description. Timeline method of looking over your calendar and seeing what happened last year. A keyword review. A photo collage, where you kind of look through your photos from the past year, and then a scorecard. Now, I'll walk you through how to do each one of these. Okay, the writing prompt method is really simple. I've got a list of several questions that will prompt you to answer and to reflect and review over the past year. You'll answer these and you can write them out or you can type them up in your computer, whatever is your preference. The questions you like to answer are going to be telling, and the questions that you hesitate to answer are going to be telling as well. So pay attention to how you react and respond to these questions. That will tell you something about how your year went. Once you're done answering the questions, take a break from this exercise, go away, and then come back later and review your responses. After you've reviewed the responses, it might be good to kind of summarize what you think has come out of that review process by answering these writing prompts. The timeline method is pretty simple. You're going to get your calendar out, and you're going to look over your calendar, and you may want to look at some pictures as well, because sometimes your pictures tell the story of what happened in the past year as well. But you're going to create either on a piece of paper or on your computer a timeline of both the highs and lows of the past year. You can add details and notes to those highs and lows in there if you'd like, even put pictures of those significant events. And then kind of pay attention to how you were feeling during those specific moments, those highs and lows through the year. And then summarize your timeline into a single sentence if you can, maybe 2 sentences. But once you've laid out all the events in the timeline, you should be able to do this a lot easier. Now the keyword method. This is going to require you to brainstorm a little bit, maybe come up with at least 20 words that you might think of when you review over your list of different things that have happened over the past year. And just come up with 20 words, just single words. Just don't limit yourself, just kind of first things that come to mind. And then select the top 3 or 4 words, that really describe best the year, if you kind of categorize it into those 3 or 4 words. And then what's fun to do is to take those 3 words and make a sign or a poster or graphic image that has those 3 words, and you can hashtag them for fun. And those 3 words would really embody what your year reminded you of, or as you reviewed over the different things that happened in the last year. For those of you that are visual oriented, you might like the photo collage method the best. So in this exercise, you're going to go back through all of the photos from the past year in your camera roll, and you're going to pick the top 10 or 12 that best illustrated your moments of the year. These could be highlights or lowlights, either one, but these are the 10 or 12 most impactful events of the year. And then either create a slideshow or a collage of your 10 or 12 photos. And then, if you'd like, you write a summary of what those 10 or 12 pictures mean to you. You could do it per picture or just a summary paragraph for the whole year and why it was impactful to you. The scorecard method is really simple. This goes back to the report card days. And you're going to list some areas that you want to rate yourself on: physical, mental, financial, projects, overall. You can add more to this list if you like, obviously. But for each of these areas, you're going to rate yourself 1 to 5. You're going to give yourself a rating, be honest and truthful. 1 would be a low rating, 5 would be a great, high rating, And then kind of tally it all up and do an overall rating. This is really good to do comparative from year to year or month to month to kind of see where you're trending and what's doing well and what's not. This is the scorecard method, and another great way to evaluate your past year. There's a lot of benefits of taking time to pause and look back and review and analyze your past year. The first benefit is increased gratitude. You realize, probably to your surprise, how many great things happened, and you can celebrate those good things. So it increases our gratitude as we look back and not focus on the bad things, but focus on the good things. You can also celebrate highlights. There were no doubt some high points in your year that you can reflect on again and celebrate those again and see how good some of the things that happened in the past year were. Reflecting also allows us to identify some of the patterns we need to break, some of the things that we maybe unknowingly do over and over again that get us in trouble, that cause us pain and frustration. And we can identify those things only when we stop and look back and figure out what those sticky points are so we can address them and make them less impactful in the year ahead. This process also helps us create new clear goals for the new year. After looking back and assessing what happened, we can really have a clear picture about what we want in the future. So it helps us set clear goals moving forward. And finally, this process helps us by giving us motivation and hope for the future. So no matter what happened last year, this is a new year ahead of us, and we have control over what's coming at us to some degree, and we can make some adjustments to make sure that we have a better year going forward. If you're ready to do a self-evaluation, click on the link in the description below, and I'll send you all the documents and details of everything I covered in this video so that you can use these evaluation tools to review your year and set yourself up for success in the new year.